Hi students, today we are going to discuss about the uterus. When we discuss about the uterus, first we should discuss something about the embryology related to that. And when we talk about the supports of the uterus also, we need to know some embryological facts. First of all, we should know one thing, that your gonads, initially you will be having the gonads. So we don't know the sex of the gonads, and we will be having one genital tubercle. This gonad, if XX chromosome comes, it will be transformed into ovary. If XY chromosome comes, it will be transformed into testis. The same thing here, I said this is a genital tubercle. This genital tubercle, if it is XX, it will be transformed into labia majora, and XY it will be transformed into scrotum. So you should know that. Now if it is a female, if it is a male, there is a connection existing between the lower pole of the gonad and to the genital tubercle. Here also there is from the lower pole of the gonad to the genital tubercle. This fold is called as gubernaculum. So this one is called as gubernaculum. We should color it with green. This is called as gubernaculum. So this is the gonad. Now it is called as testis, and this is scrotum. So this is gubernaculum. Now what happens, in after few weeks, this gubernaculum is getting shortened. So when it is getting shortened, it pulls the testis down. So now it pulls the testis down, and at the 5th month it enters into the deep ring, and 7th it is lying in the inguinal canal, and at the 9th month, at the beginning of the 9th month, it lies in the superficial limb, and at the end of the 9th month it goes down to the bottom of the scrotum. So this is how, because of the shortening of the gubernaculum, this testis is pulled down and it is settled down in the scrotum. This is normally it happens in males, but in females what happened, this is coming out. In the meantime, what happens, when the ovary is coming down, your labia majora, this genital tubercle in females, it is transformed into labium majora. So what happens when it is coming down, in the meantime you have the development of the uterus by the paramesonephric duct. What is the duct? Paramesonephric duct. So that forms the uterus. So when it is coming down, it settles at the posterior leaflet of the broad ligament. So it settles down here. So what happens, this straight pathway is here, it's split up into two areas. Number one, this is the gonad, so called ovary. From the ovary, the ligament gubernaculum is going to the corner. This is called cornu of the uterus. From here it is coming to the labia majora. So two parts are here. Number one, this is the ovary. Now the gubernaculum, because of the development of the uterus, it goes from the lower pole of the gonad to the cornu of the uterus. This is part 1, and the second is part 2, which is coming from the corner of the uterus to the labia majora. Now you have two parts for the gubernaculum, but here in the males only one portion is there. So here also the gubernaculum is coming from the lumbar region, and it is coming down. Suddenly it meets the development of the uterus. So this is the site of the ovary. It has to be stopped here. So it stops here. So the gubernaculum has two parts. The number one part is called ligament of ovary. Ligament of ovary. The other second part from the cornu of the uterus. Cornu is an area where the fallopian tube meets the body of the uterus. This area is called cornu of the uterus. So from the cornu to the labia majora, it is called as round ligament of the uterus. Round ligament of uterus. So here in males it's the same thing. In females it is split up into two, and two parts are here for the gubernaculum. So the MCQ is, round ligament of the uterus and the ligament of ovary are derived from gubernaculum. This is how the supports of the so while reading about the supports of the uterus, this area is very important. Next I will go to the uterus proper. Uterus proper, when you write the essay, marks distribution will be like this. Number 1, for the position of the uterus. So for the position of the uterus, you know this, it is, and this is the fundus, this is the body, and this area is the cervix, and this area is the vagina. Okay, so this is body. Can you see there is an angle difference between the body and this is the body and the cervix. There is an angulation between the body and the cervix. From the cervix to the vagina, this is the angle. Okay, cervix to the vagina. Okay, so I will shade it in different color. Okay, so this is the one which is from the body to the cervix. So this is your cervix, this is your body. There is an angle between the body and the cervix. This is actually first you have to write as it is anti-verted and anti-flexed. Okay, what is anti-flexed is angle between the body of the uterus and the cervix of the uterus. There is an angle that is called as 120 degree and it is called as anti-flexed uterus. Antiversion means between the cervix and the vagina there is 90 degree angulation, that is called as antiversion. So for this is very important. This is point number 1. Number 2, you have written that. Number 2, the relations. While drawing the relations, you have to be very careful. Number 1, this is the anterior abdominal wall, this is the posterior abdominal wall. In the anterior abdominal wall, the first structure, imagine this is the pubic symphysis. The first structure is your bladder. The next structure is your uterus. The third structure is your rectum and anal canal. This is how your pelvic cavity is situated. Understood? So now the structure which is lying anterior to the uterus is, what is that? Urinary bladder. So between these two you have a peritoneal pouch called vesico-uterine pouch. So the vesico-uterine pouch, anteriorly it goes and stops at the level of the body and it goes up and it covers and then it comes down. Back it goes down, deep down to the supravaginal part of the cervix. It goes down and it goes up. So anteriorly this pouch is very shallow. This is called vesico-uterine pouch, and posteriorly this pouch is posterior relations. So anterior relations you will be writing the urinary bladder and posterior relations you will be writing the rectum. Between these two the peritoneal fold is called as recto-uterine pouch, the most dependent area. Okay, recto-uterine pouch, pouch of Douglas. And next to that, so both the sides you have written, and then so both the sides laterally you have a muscle. That muscle everybody knows, pelvic diaphragm. What is the muscle? Levator ani. So inferolaterally you will be having the levator ani and superiorly you will be having the coils of intestine. Okay, so this is about that. And then next thing, these are the relations. Before writing the relations, here itself you should write the parts of the uterus. So while drawing the parts of the uterus, you should draw like this. Okay, so this is called fundus above the fallopian tube, and this is called body, and this part is called as cervix, and the narrowest part is called as vagina. So when you draw the vagina, see one part of the vagina is going up. So this is called as supravaginal part of cervix. Vagina, above the vagina, this is called supravaginal part of the cervix. Cervix and vagina. So these are the parts of the uterus, and this is fallopian tube. And here when you talk about this supravaginal part of the cervix is important because you have a space over here. These spaces are called as fornixes of vagina. These are two are called as this is like a kaleidoscope. Okay, gone one. For example, if I fold this paper, another part of the paper will be gone inside, like that it will be going inside a tube. Okay, so it is present inside and it is enclosing that all the sides, all over the sides. The part which is present anterior to this is called as anterior fornix. Both the sides, it is that gap between the cervix, this vaginal supravaginal part, and the cervix. This is called as lateral fornix, and behind you will be having the posterior fornix. Among the fornixes, so fornixes when you write anterior fornix, lateral fornix 2, and then posterior fornix 1. Among this, which one is the deepest one? Obviously posterior fornix. This is one is MCQ, right? So this is about the uterus. So these parts you have written and relations also you have written. Next we will go to the, here you have a body called perineal body, is situated posteriorly, and then next you have to write about the supports of the uterus. Supports of the uterus, when you write, again you need to draw this diagram. For that we need a small model. Okay, so let's look at this model. Okay, so this is the model where you can see the outer rim of the pelvis.